Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6 as the Mayan Empire. And our goal this episode is to get our Tier 3 government and begin actually launching the space race stuff. We may actually finish the game this episode, but it might be one extra. We have finished the sewer in Palenque, which is one of our 4 sewers. Now, it could be really good in this particular city to build the seaport because we are working a lot of coastal tiles, and the seaport is an incredibly powerful building because it gives you +2 gold on all coast tiles for the city as its final ability. It also just generally gives you a little bit of food, a little bit of gold, and you can build fleets and armadas, but that's not a particularly interesting part of the building. I will grab the seaport in this city because it does make particularly good sense in this city. I do need to keep an eye out for the potential for an Eiffel Tower. I'm going to build the arena for +2 amenities in here, and I'm going to prioritize that because my amenities are starting to dip down below where I want them to be. There are no luxuries for sale, sadly. I can sell off this oil for really good cash, and I don't have a use for oil right now. I'm more interested in having oil income than just like raw oil resources, so let's just sell off all of our potentially strategic resources. That'll get us a nice boost to our cash per turn, which we have been using to expand our empire, but now we will not be using it for that purpose. I think I'm going to chop the rainforest before I build the plantation tile, because that'll just reduce the food output of this tile by 1, which I think is a totally acceptable level of output loss. I will place a rainforest here. I'm going to go ahead. Well, actually, you'll grow to the coal next turn, so don't even need to buy that tile. I'm feeling very happy about this city. I think we might have enough build charges in here. Let me do a count. I need 2 for this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. So I need 14 build charges, and we currently have 12. So I will need to get another builder in here to get this fully built. So it'll take a good few build charges to get the city fully up and running. But once we do, it'll be a nice old city. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves the observatory. We'll place it on the observatory tile. Boom, boom. But we will finish the harbour first, because the harbour will give us a ton of growth as well as potentially production down the line. Now, do I want this to be a sheep tile, or do I want it to be a mine? I think I want it to be a mine. Mines are just better productively. This city will have enough food with farms potentially. It's a grassland city too, so there's already quite a bit of food hanging around. There's a nice plantation here that'll give it growth. You know, a sheep pasture isn't the end of the world when you've already got so many hill tiles and a couple of plantations hanging around. So I will go for the sheep pasture there. I think I won't chop that tile. Right, we could go for Giovanni de Medici. Let's have a look and see, is there a better guy that we could pick up? I mean, it would be nicer to get toys, so I am tempted to pass. So I'll pass on that, and it looks like Jacob Astor is the next guy. Don't really care about him, but we might just take him to take him, if you know what I mean. Spy over here. I want you to counter spy on the industrial zone to protect that city. That's perfectly fine. We go ahead and build the mine right there, and then I want you to get that oil online. You are potentially helping. I'm going to put you there to provide adjacency bonus combat strength. I need you to clear this. Boom. All right, good kill. Fortify on this tile while this guy hits you. You'll be on defensive terrain with a fortification charge, and you can always run to the water, so you should be fine. Go ahead and get me that pasture. That's a 4 food, 3 production tile, a very acceptable output, and we're almost ready for Magnus to be moved from the city. We just want to get a bunch of chopping done, I think. All right, Cuirassier's holding the line. You move this way. Fortify for a turn. You're fortified. Claiming a great person. I think I'm going to pass on James Watt and hope that someone else gets him. Oh, I accidentally passed on the Great Admiral. Well, that was dumb of me. All right, let's have a look here. Shipyard. We're working a couple of coastal tiles, so I think the university is more important in here. We do need to start thinking about our 3rd district and stuff like that. It'll probably be a water park. Buy some luxuries, yoink. That'll push us all the way perfectly back up to 12 ecstatic cities, exactly on the nose where we want to be. I will go granary into monument here. We have built up a little bit of science. So 14 science per turn from the city already, looking really strong. I've got 2 envoys here that I could spend. I probably nothing wrong with putting 2 envoys into Capul and Valletta. That'll get me another +4 production. In Koba, it'll actually be +8 because this is the city with the diplomatic quarter. So quite a bit faster. And you know, I think it's railroad time. We'll do a little railroading. Okay, chop. That will finish the harbour. I will overflow through the lighthouse into the observatory. We'll chop through the observatory into the commercial hub. A lot of infrastructure just got finished in here. We got 2 districts finished in basically a single turn. All right, good, good, good. There's class struggle. Why don't you blast that guy? Can you get this finishing kill, perhaps? Okay, perfect. We finished him off. We have the settler in position. We are about to secure the city that we've been looking for. Amazing. I don't know how important Alfred Nobel is to me. Let me have a look at the great scientists. Alfred Nobel is on the bottom of the list. We will be passing and then recruiting Albert Einstein. Oh my God, we managed to nail it. We got Albert. So this is pretty big. Albert Einstein is the equivalent of having a city-state on the map that you have a level, like a max level friendship with that no one else can be friends with. So it's quite powerful. It'll get you probably on the order of like 20 to 40 signs, depending on the size of your empire. So we are at 386, double click, and we're now up to 412. So we're going to be keeping the signs pumping. Pump up the signs. Pump it up, right? That's the goal. Oh, wow. I think it's time that we recruited a couple of traders to send to Copan. I will go ahead and gold purchase a trader in here just to keep the old trade lines open. And I'm going to start building my network of railroads. I'm going to be waiting until I have fully finished everything I need to do in this city. Just a little bit of stuff that needs to be done before we move Magnus. I have one more chop here, and then I think I'll move Magnus over to Uxmal. Let's get the oil well online for Samarkand. That will give us oil income, which will be fantastic. No cultural alliance. Sorry, bud. Not interested in your cultural alliance. There's flight completed. Excellent. We got the aerodrome, all that sort of jazz, but that's really on the way to radio. I think I just lost... Yep, I lost all of my luxury trade deals. Let's get them all back online. Perfect. That'll push us back up to the 12 amenities. It's super important that we hit that number. You move there. Boom. Or 12 ecstatic cities. Chop here. So we've got 3 districts finished, and we can place the water park. We may as well get that done. We can have the basic infrastructure of the city in place really early. Now, I think I would prefer to get Gustav Eiffel if I can. So I'm willing to pay the 900 faith to yoink him. And then maybe I can get him onto this. Do a little railroad, and maybe he'll be able to get to that tile in a single turn. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. This trade route is going to get relocated to Copan. I guess you could go ahead and pop me a lumber mill there. We need to deal with this barb camp. So we just shoot him once, clear it, settle the city, boosh, skadoosh. Mission accomplished. We have created the city of Tikal. This city could definitely make use of a granary. I'm going to purchase that granary so that the city can get its housing. I'm also going to purchase a monument, and then that way the city can just immediately begin work on an observatory. We can purchase a builder in here and start improving these tiles. Let's keep... I guess this guy managed to level up. Fabricate Scandal at a higher level, so we can keep fabricating Scandal in Mitla. Seems nice. Okay, builder. The industrial era ends in 7 turns, and I grew the city so quickly with builders that actually Adrian Opal may flip to me. I'm probably going to refuse that city because I don't want the marble tile. This city isn't good enough for me to dilute my amenities with. This city here was definitely good enough for me to dilute my amenities with. But I don't think I want to dilute any further. I think this is as far as I want to go, and I fully built up this city in only a handful of turns, so I can send any spare build charges to Uxmal. Tanina is just doing amazing. Like it's a 43 production city that I settled a handful of turns ago, and it's got all 4 of its districts that it plans to build already produced. The water park is the last one, and that'll get the amenities. Uxmal, on the other hand, is going to develop quite a bit slower. I hope people can now start to see why Magnus is so powerful for like mid-late game city settling. So you can just about reach there, and I'm wondering, what if I were to step to here with you and step here to you? What if I got one more piece of rail? Could you make it to the Big Ben? Boom. Yeah, so I think we could secure the Big Ben here over this guy who is building it. His is not really that far along, honestly, whereas mine's on the verge of being completed. I think in particular we're going to focus our trade routes on Persia. So I'm just going to set Persia as my destination. I'm going to talk to Persia. I'm going to say, hey, what's uppy, my bud? We're going to go ahead and do an economic alliance. There you go. Gilgamesh, of course, I will renew my military alliance if he'll let me. Perfect. And then beyond that, I just want friendships with people so that they can't declare war on me. Persia, my good man, my trade routes to you should be more valuable than this is letting on. Maybe I can update the screen by forcing a yield recheck. I don't know why it's not showing because we're allies, so I should be benefiting more, but we'll just go by gold production. So Mashhad seems like a good trade. Alrighty. Oh, we can get a great rider. That seems quite nice. I wouldn't mind getting Robert Goddard, aka Industrial Lenin. We're going to need another theater square, so I'll position you into Copan, and we will get the little railroad there. Perfect. We connect up cities. Would you drop me a little railroad there? We got the trader in Waknabal. This trader is getting moved to Copan. Can I get any more traders? Nope, I think that's traders maxed out. There is an argument to be made for getting the stock exchange, but I don't think I want to use up more power because we're down to 57 turns on the world climate change. We're rapidly approaching the point where flooding will happen. And we would not like that to happen. So I want an oil power plant in my capital. I mean, it's not a bad place to do it. +3 AoE production. It'll help out Copan. I think I'll go for the oil power plant here. And then in Copan, I might go for the coal for the +4 local production. Seems quite good to me. Okay, in the city of Calakmul, we have finished a spy. I think I'll go for the seaport. It's a relatively good city when it comes to coastal tiles, so that will help us out quite a bit when it comes to money making. The spy, I think, is going to be sent to Copan to defend the spaceport. I think that's a better use of the spy than what I could possibly use him elsewhere. We got the Ferris wheel in Caguana. Let's go for the library. Good amenities across my empire. Any buyers? No, we're in a bit of an amenities crunch. I will be taking Space Initiative on Pingala for the 30% production increase to all space program projects in that city. Eventually he will be getting moved to Copan, but that won't be happening for a little while. I am going to go ahead and use Gustav Eiffel to finish the Big Ben just so I can have it now. I don't really want Big Ben for the gold and treasury increase. That part I don't actually care about, so that's why I didn't try to save up money for that. Super don't care about that. What I cared about more was the fact that we get an extra policy slot and I can plug in liberalism to get an extra 10 amenities across my empire because we just lost retainers. Now, the loss of retainers does suck, but it does mean that we can plug in 100% industrial adjacency. And we are on the verge of getting democracy, right? We just need to get through mobilization, ideology, and suffrage, and then we'll have democracy. So, looking at the city, we did just get the Big Ben. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a theatre square to increase the culture, because there's nothing else in here that we really want to be building. I'm in my Civ 6 flow state right now, and that is why I'm talking so quickly and I'm playing so actively and I'm having such a great time. We're going to go ahead and continue to build the railroad. Mary Shelley, you're in position. I've got another railroader heading up to make the railroad. You are going to produce me a little bit of a lumber mill because you want the production in the city of Coragria. I definitely just need to get a couple of fishing boats in here to finish off this city and then send any spare build charges over to Uxmal, whereupon I will move Magnus over to that city as well. Right, how are you doing? Well, I guess we could start producing those farms, which would give this city, high food tiles that it could work, which will potentially lead to longer term production increases. All right, let's have a look. We can sell off some luxury resources, which we'll absolutely do. None that we can buy. Let's see. Anyone want to buy my strategics? Iron. No iron buyers. There are niter buyers. What about coal buyers? We could sell off a little bit of coal. I'm going to hold on to the rest of my coal because I don't want to go down to 0 this turn. Oil, I do feel a little bit safe selling because I'm not burning oil right now and I don't have any uranium. I wish I could just sell all strategics. It is what it is, but it's the way that presumably it's the way whatever this thing is that they did is programmed. I don't need the zoo in this city because I think the city is already benefiting from a zoo. I wish I could right click buildings or shift left click a building or control left click a building to say, hey, I never want to build this in this city. That is the kind of thing that I would like. It would be nice. Something we can do here is to do an industrial zone logistics to get great engineer points and also save on climate flooding. Could also do campus research grants. I think the industrial zone logistics is actually technically better in this particular situation so that we can reduce the amount of power that the city is drawing because it's drawing 5 power. Water park is completed in Tonina, which is literally perfect. I think we just go ahead and shift. We gold purchase the shipyard and then we grab the market and the Ferris wheel just to keep the city happy. We grab Magnus, we reassign him to the city of Uxmal, and then in 5 turns when these builders arrive or thereabouts, we'll be able to do a bit of work. Start buying tiles and getting this city going because this city has only just been built and it's already producing 15 science, 50 production. This is a great city. Very, very powerful. Incredible simming we're doing. We finished the research lab in Zunatunik. I think a water park would really help the city out, or potentially a entertainment complex to get the extra stuff out of that. I think maybe there's an argument to be made of going for some sort of theater square somewhere as well. So what if I did a water park here and a theater square there? That feels to me like somewhat appropriate. The city will also eventually need power. I think we go for the water park first to keep the amenities really high in here. The production is fantastic. 36 production, plus 10 food surplus, 16 population maximum. We're looking down the barrel of a very powerful mid and late game, which is exactly where I want to be when I'm playing Civ. I've got another trader in here, but we are prioritizing trading with Persia because that's giving us all of that food, all of that production, all of that gold. It's a truly beautiful thing. And we do have a spare charge at Gustav Eiffel, so we could crack out something small here that we really wanted to. There's nothing really here that I care too much about, so I'll probably stave him for the Estadio de Maracana. Estadio de Maracana. Maracana. I don't know how to say it, right? I think I got relatively close. I've tried it a few times. Somebody taught me how to say it. Some I think I had a Brazilian guy who spoke Portuguese who came in and told me how to say it. I think this is Brazilian anyway. +2 amenities in each city in your civilization. This is an amazing wonder. We absolutely want to be able to build it if we can. Unfortunately, Basil had a little bit more culture than us this game, so it's likely that he's going to get there first, but it all really depends on if he thinks he's actually going to go for that wonder. That's the thing. Let's go ahead and start building a railroad. You know what I think would be cool? I think it would be cool if you got some sort of benefit for building a railroad to your city-state allies. It feels like an area of the game that there could have been, like, because I remember in Civ 5, you got like little rewards for doing those things, and I think giving like the players like mini games to engage with is actually really positive and fun, because it's like, oh man, I just spent all this time building a railroad to the city-state, and then someone else attacked them where they got suzerainty, and it's like little moments, like little quote-unquote quests for the player to do during gameplay are actually really fun and really positive. As long as they don't require like very, very, very tedious micro, in my opinion. I like the idea of like, you know, I had like a little job to do, you know, and like I just built a railroad to Samarkand. I think that's a pretty cool, I don't know, I think it's just a cool, funky little mechanic and a neat idea. Obviously, I like the idea because I came up with it, right? And obviously, it's a good idea because I came up with it, right? That's the Sigma Energy. Oh, no. We forgot to build the fishing boat there. We'll have to go rebuild that. Or, no. It was the hurricane that destroyed it. Okay. So we're waiting for good friend of the stream, Magnus, to get into position in the city. That's fine. I'll go ahead and move you to here, and I'll buy myself an extra builder, and we'll keep that city under construction. Keeping it cranking, one might say. I got a 4-charge builder over here. I don't know what to do with him. There's a whole bunch of tiles. I guess I could theoretically go improve this tile. It's a mining tile in a city that has really good production already. I do not want a cultural alliance with you, Loud Tower. Get the hell out of my face. I do not care. Industrial area in 3 turns. Nothing particularly important on these fronts. We do now have aluminium. We finished a theater square in Copan. Let's go ahead and quickly grab that amphitheater. It'll be a 1-turn build. It'll slowly increase our culture, and every little bit of shred of culture increase means we get closer to professional sports faster. And also the really, really important card, the International Space Agency, which gives us 5% science per city-state that we're suzerain of. Unit needs orders over here. Let's go ahead and pop up into here. We'll go ahead and grab ourselves a little bit of a railroad, and we'll keep railroading, trying to get the Empire completely connected up, completely happy, and completely ready to go. Lady Shield has been positioned in Copan. I don't know where I'm going to be building the spaceport right now, so what I'll tell Lady Copan to do is to just defend the commercial hub, because that's where the AI is most likely to try to sabotage us. Let's pop down a fishing boat tile here in the city of Tonina, and that is this city now fully maxed out on housing, on production, on everything that it needs, and really it really just needs a tiny shred more housing and stuff to allow it to reach its maximum potential, where it works this tile and this tile as well. But essentially this city is what I would call finished. It just needs to like grab the library buildings after the Ferris wheel. So that's what we'll start it on doing. Knowledge of advanced ballistics has advanced considerably. We got a claim on a great person. It looks like it's Hasegawa Tohaku. We can grab him. There's no reason not to. We can immediately start popping in our great works. Now, I had really wanted a archaeological museum, and the city of Copan is one of the best cities for me to get the archaeological museum in, because it'll maximize the amount of production that I can input into an archaeologist. When it comes to oil power plants, we finished that in Waknabal. We should start converting oil into electricity as well, which will take the pressure off of the coal on our empire, which should slow down the rate at which climate change will happen, because we've switched to a slightly more efficient resource. When it comes to my capital city, there's quite a few interesting ideas that we can go for here, but nothing is really jumping out to me. The only thing that I really want to build is a rocketry platform, a spaceport. So I'm going to quickly just grab myself a broadcast center, because that's worth 6 culture per turn at least, and potentially I could get that up a little bit if I were to increase my relationship with Vilnius. It'd be worth 9 culture per turn, which is effectively a 50% increase in the output of that building. Similarly, in the city of Palenque, I'm going to be going for a broadcast center for the exact same logic. This will start to increase the amount of power that we consume. However, we are so close now to computers that flood barriers won't be a problem, and we've already cranked out a whole bunch of military engineers to help us solve that problem, so it doesn't feel quite as daunting as a task as it would normally feel in a game. How do you guys feel about it when I talk really quickly? Because to me, it doesn't feel like I'm talking quickly. It feels like I'm just talking at the natural pace that I feel like talking in this exact moment. But I can totally understand and get that this might feel like I'm just like I'm just like rambling like at maximum pace, and it's like really hard and really incoherent to understand what I'm saying. But I feel like I'm articulating my words really clearly, and that I'm actually like, I'm saying things of substance, and I don't feel like I'm that incoherent. But I understand that not everyone is a native English speaker, so they might struggle a little bit when I'm talking really, really quickly. But I am just going to go ahead and buy tiles here in the city of Uxmal so that I can prepare to set the city up when Magnus is established in 2 turns. The industrial era district has been finished, or sorry, rather, it's 1 turn until we reach the industrial era. It's 1 turn until we finish the industrial era. My brain got a little bit confused there. Let's go ahead and in the city of El Mirador, we have finished the university. We don't really need the seaport in here. We could go for it, but I think the more important thing for us to do is to get the research lab, because that's worth at least plus 10 science. And plus 10 science is a decent amount of science towards the end of the game. I'm also going to go ahead and get the university in the city of Caguana so I can get plus 6 science per turn. Excellent. Now, let's go ahead and continue to produce railroads all the way up to these cities, because I like the idea of having my empire connected by railroads. And it'll also just make moving, even if I need more military engineers and I decide to build more, it'll make moving them around my empire quite a bit easier. Now, you're going to go ahead and build me a little bit of this. And you guys, there's a little bit of a traffic jam here when we're building the railroads, but that's okay. We can always backfill and get to work on things like that. Okay. I think it's good just to have like a whole bunch of railroads running throughout your empire. I think it's fun. I think it's cute. It's hard. It's weirdly enough, it's harder to build roads than it is to build railroads around your empire, because roads you have to build by traders, whereas railroads, you could just cram those bad boys out with a few well-placed military engineers. Now, it looks like I lost suzerainty of a city-state. We also got plus 1 era score for building a first oil power plant, and we also just got rocketry. Getting us access to spaceports. We've also finished mobilization, which is fantastic. That'll allow us to field even larger, more powerful armies. We are going to immediately start a spaceport in the capital, but we're not going to actually finish it until we go for the broadcast center. In here, we're going to probably purchase the archaeological museum, so we're going to start a spaceport on this useless petratile, quote-unquote useless, but we will finish the archaeological museum first so we can buy an archaeologist. In terms of dedications, I feel like Heartbeat of Steam is a perfectly reasonable thing to go for here. I don't want to go for Hicks on Dracones because I'm no longer settling cities, and this gives you era score whenever you settle a new continent, every time you discover a new continent or natural wonder. I'm not going to go for Reform the Coinage, because while I do have a lot of trade routes, I don't have enough that would justify going for this, and Heartbeat of Steam is just a really easy way to get era score, and I don't plan to go to war, so 2 arms does not feel like the right way, because you get era score every time you kill a non-barbarian corps in combat, and plus 2 era score every time you kill a non-barbarian army in combat. They just don't feel particularly useful aside from Heartbeat of Steam, when this is definitely a SimCity game, right? A game where I just sim and produce resources and units, or resources and buildings and districts as hard as possible. That feels like the kind of game that we're in. So any other choice just feels incorrect to me than going for the Heartbeat of Steam. Now, military engineers have been completed. So it's industrial era or later buildings. So things like the military academy, this is worth plus 1 era score. It's super worth it for me to build it right now. And I think I will. That's plus 1 era score right there. It'll also allow me to build military engineers faster, in theory. We got the observatory in Uxmal. Let's go ahead and get the library. Magnus is in position now, so we can start to think about what districts we want in the city. I definitely feel like this is another harbour city, and there is a plus 3 harbour right there, so we'll go ahead and grab that. Let's go ahead and stone harvest that out, and then we will forest chop it out. That'll be perfect. We'll let the library overflow go through as well. I'm going to go ahead and on Reina, I will take the tax. Well, I guess I could go for Liang. Aquaculture on Liang seems kind of exciting, especially if I decide to resettle her down to the city of Palanque. This is probably the time where I should do the shift. So I'm going to move Liang down to Palanque so I can build up the whole coastal economy here. I'm going to move Reina to Waknabal. No, there's no point putting her there. I'll move her to Calakmul. I'll move Victor to Waknabal to give the city the governor slots, and then I'll move Pingala to Kopan because this is where we plan to do the actual science race, the main science racing. That'll hurt my science and culture for about 5 turns as the population begins to adjust to the fact that they're no longer, or as Pingala begins to adjust to the fact that they're no longer, occupying my biggest science and culture city. But this will eventually become my biggest science and culture city when the time comes. I will buy a couple of extra luxuries just to keep the amenities nice and high. We're up to 11 perfectly ecstatic cities, which feels really amazing. It's one of the best feelings in a game of Civ when every city is just cranking an absurd amount of resources out. Let's go ahead and... No, we don't need to do any chopping in here until we have brought Magnus over, so we're just going to chill with this builder, and this builder is heading over here. And I think generally, I'm having a great time just like building up. We're happy to be friends with Georgia. Totally happy to put you in the friend zone. Now we would like... Honestly, we just don't want people to be able to steal our money. So I think voting up siphon funds like 5 times should be enough. Usually the AI will vote for production being better. And I guess I will just dump the rest of my Diplo points into myself, and then I'll vote for World's Fair up just once. Don't particularly care about the outcome of a lot of these World Congress things. Recruit partisans, operates higher, so don't build any neighborhoods. Units are 50% cheaper. Diplomatic village, diplomatic victory, and World's Fair has passed. Okay, the city of Uxmal has finished building the library. I think we'll go for the lighthouse now. I'm going to go ahead and chop out that lighthouse and overflow it into a shipyard, and then we can start to actually update and build these tiles. Awesome. We did manage to finish the archaeological museum in here. Let's go ahead and gold purchase the archaeologist and start grabbing those up. Mainly I got the archaeologist so that I can clear this tile and get an extra chop in this city. You coming over here, go ahead and place that railroad, and we are continuing to railroad up. We are railroading. I'm roading, dude. Looks like somebody managed to do some sort of... They sabotaged production in Palenque, but I think we actually caught them, so my spy leveled up. Amazing. That's awesome. Panama Canal was built by somebody else. How's the flooding happening? Yeah, 24 turns until the flooding, so computer tech's coming just as soon as it needs to. Let's go ahead and level you up with counter spy, as if you're... Oh, I like counter spying to give all city districts... When counter spying, all city districts are defended, and +1 level at districts within 1 hex. That's quite good. I like that. So he's quite a good counter spire now. The research lab in Corrigua has been completed. Let's go for the industrial zone to keep getting the culture and bonuses and all the things that we want out of that. And yeah, we've almost finished the little railroad that goes around our empire. I call it a little railroad when it's like the most extensive, civil engineering project that my empire has participated in to date, where builders and like units can transport themselves around the empire extremely quickly. And the purpose of that is to be able to feed these spaceports with builders. It's going to be the goal. So pretty soon we should probably make the technology transition where we stop like actually building stuff and we just start pumping science. I'll probably do it after flood barriers, maybe. Knowledge of satellites has advanced considerably. That is because I have built my 2 broadcast centers, which is excellent, which means we'll get the moon landing a little bit cheaper. Taking a look here, we did finish a broadcast center down here in this city, and they did fail to pillage the industrial zone, which is fantastic. I'm going to just crank out like a trader and then a couple quick builders, because Liang will be established with the extra fishery tile stuff, and that'll be kind of fun to play around with. I did manage to get the seaport up in Calakmul. I don't think I'm going to be going for a spaceport in this city. Don't think I'm going to be going for anything else. So this city is going to make the scientific transition where you click this science button here to make all of the citizens work inside the research campus. The reason that you want to do this is because if we take a look at the campus as a building, is there an easy way for me to get to campuses? So something I want to talk about campuses, and I've talked about this a few times, but basically campuses are actually tiles that you can work. You can see here that your campus yields +2 citizen yield, which means +2 science, which basically means if I put a citizen on this tile, if I hover over this, you can see, if you scroll down, you can see specialists, 9 science. So you can put up to 3 people on this tile, right, working the science, and they will produce 2 science per citizen. However, once you build the research lab, for every building that you build in the district, you get +1 citizen slot. So you build a library, and then you get a citizen slot, and you can work that for another +2 science. And it's the same with the university, right? When you build the university, you get +4 science, but you also get +1 citizen slot, which means you can work 2 citizen slots for +2 science each, bringing you up to 4 science. However, the really cool thing, the thing that I love, is when you get to the research lab, right, you get +1 more citizen slot, but you get +1 citizen yield. So you go from being able to put in 2 citizens, getting 4 science, to putting in 3 citizens, getting 9 science, which feels incredibly rewarding. In fact, it's a huge percentage of the bonus that this actually provides. So once you build your research lab, I fully recommend clicking this button here. Just click it once. You don't want it to look like a red circle. You want it to look like that little filled in circle, and that will make it so that your citizens will prioritize working this. It does mean that you'll take a hit to your other yields, right? Because like look here, I'm 43 production, 8 positive food, right? But if I click this, I go to 0.8 positive food, 32 production. So what I also want is for the city to be well fed. So I'll also prioritize food. Yes, so that'll keep the city growing fairly slowly. It is a relatively big sacrifice for us to do this, but this city has already completed all of its major infrastructure, so we don't really need production in here, right? We have all the buildings that we need. There's not really a whole lot of extra buildings that we could add to the city that would make it much stronger. Maybe an amenity district with the first tier building, but beyond that, it doesn't matter. Like, you could make an argument that I should wait the 4 turns until the city hits 10 population before I start doing that, but I can also just work research grants, right? Turning your production into research grants will convert 15% of the production that you input into this project into science per turn, plus you'll get a 15% of the total production of the project as great scientist points. So this is how you make the science transition, right? We go from making 33 science per turn to making 39 science per turn, plus a little bit extra from the production of this. This will probably be like another 9 science or something. Another 4, like another 5 science from working the campus research grants. So in total, we'll make an extra 15 science from this city, and that goes through multipliers and all sorts of fun things. So super, super worth it to do what I call the science transition when you hit the ultra giga late game. +3 ERA score for completing every building in the encampment district. And I think I also got a +1 ERA score for building the building itself. We do now have access to flood barriers. So there's a couple of cities that I want to make sure that I get those flood barriers in. This city in particular, I know is going to struggle to build its flood barrier. So I want to get my military engineers over to that city if I can. And I love, because I have my railroads built, I can get around so damn quickly. It is one of my favorite things. It's just how quick you can zoom around the world when you got your railroads built. Let's get to work on continuing to clean up some of these earlier techs. We need to be able to get to launching the Mars colony too. So we're just going to clean up some of these early techs. Anything that's boosted, we'll probably research. I think it would be good if I build an ironclad. I think I'll boost a little bit of science here. I think I kill my overflow, but whatever. Who cares? Boom. You speed that up to a 2-turn build. Military academy has been finished in the city. You can just build your flood barrier in of yourself. You've completed the water park. Let's get the Ferris wheel because we want those +2 amenities. Amenities are holding strong. This might have been my strongest amenity game ever, which is a little bit surprising, but also I'm a little bit proud of it, you know? We're not working that many coastal tiles in here, so a seaport isn't super high priority. We're going to prioritize getting the university because I would like to get up to around 1,000 science per turn. I would feel really good if I was at that level. So we're going to continue to fight for that. I want you to go repair that tile. I'll need to get a builder over here. You need to keep healing. Let's have a look. This counter spire, I want you to counter spy on that. I'm going to move my trade route to Copan. A little bit of railroads. Never hurt nobody. Are we done chopping in the city? I don't think we are. I think we're going to buy some more choppable tiles. So like this tile, this tile, this tile, this tile, +1 envoy. This tile, which means another builder. Alrighty then. You are doing a great job. That is what I'm going to tell everybody who's watched this video. Matt, you're doing a great job. It's all going great for you. You're killing it, King. Step in there. Go ahead and add your production to the building. I'll get you to do the same. I think 2 builders, 2 military engineers might be good enough for that, actually. If I think about it, I didn't mean to click on you. No flood barriers in here. Okay, we're trading with Hagmatana. We're prioritizing trading with Persia. Oh, not from this city, though. We're about to finish pure ideology. That'll be an exciting moment. One thing that I would like to do is to make sure I have railroads, like, not completely encasing these spaceports, but at least near them, just to make moving builders around this area easy. This is going to get pretty clogged up with builders in the mid to late game when we get to our tier 3 government stuff. So I like to be prepared for that. Railroad, and then you will build me a mine there to keep that city productive. We're waiting for Magnus to be finished in the city of Uxmal before we move him to Tikal. Cultural alliance, nope, I just straight up refuse to have a cultural alliance. It's just not part of my plans. We have access to steel, giving us access to the Eiffel Tower as well as artillery and the +1 production from lumber mills. It'll also give all of our cities defensive combat strength up to 400 city defense, which is quite nice. All old siege thingies become obsolete as well. We're missing probably the water park in the city. I think we'll just go ahead and quickly grab that because we want that +3 amenities. Remember, amenities are king for me this particular game because we're playing the Maya. Amenities, 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 amenities. Developers, 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 developers. Amenities, 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 right? Same chat, same energy, same energy. Right, let's input a military engineer, and then I'll have a couple extra military engineers in position to go join that. You are going there. You are doing a good job chopping. And I should probably get myself one more builder in here just to finish off all these tiles. Awesome. +2 production, +2 gold, or +2 production, +2 food, and +16 gold, rather. Very nice. The city's cranking out an insane amount of cash, but also over 100 production per turn, which is roughly about where you want to be with production when you're playing for some sort of science victory. At least 100 production per turn. The higher the better, obviously. Like that just seems, yeah, of course you want higher, but it doesn't have to, like there's, you know, it doesn't have to be so high. Okay, there's combustion tech. We do have access to tanks as well as supply convoys, +1 movement for embarked units, and we also managed to get ideology. Now, ideology does give us the ability to produce another spy, and we do want to produce that spy. More importantly, ideology is the gateway technology to your tier 3 government. So, we have probably boosted democracy. Yes, we managed to build all 4 of those sewers. We have definitely boosted class struggle, but we don't care for that, right? We're going to be going for democracy. We believe in democracy here. We want that inherent trade route buff from these trade routes. We want that giga huge amenities and housing from New Deal, and we want to push for the late game. We could go ahead and recruit Frans van Gipper. I think that's a totally reasonable thing for us to do. And we can also go ahead and switch around our government. Now, we did used to have, I think, a 5-year plan, old version that wasn't combined into 2 cards. We can plug that in now. And we probably don't really need many builders. Soon we could plug in something like economic union. I think for now we're fine. We didn't really build many walls or anything like that this game, so military research doesn't do a whole lot for us, but I guess an extra 50 gold per turn is totally a reasonable thing for us to go for. And collectivism is kind of an interesting card when you're playing as Maya, because you tend to build more farms than the average, and you have a really accessible way to get industrial zones, but I don't think I particularly want to go for collectivism. Robber barons is kind of interesting, but the -2 amenities in all cities would just crush my empire's yield, so it's not what I'm going to go for. All right, chop the rainforest. That will finish the university in here. Let's go. It's me, Mario. I will grab the research lab, put down a plantation. I've got another builder crank. I'm going to start pre-purchasing builders for TCal. I'll probably need 2 more. Go ahead and extract that. Your name is Monkey Star. Cool. That'll be a barbarian artifact. We don't particularly care. We just want them to provide us a whole bunch of culture. I don't think anybody has a great work of... I guess I can sell these off. I don't think anyone should have a great work of music yet, should they? Let me have a look. Great works music. Oh yeah, okay. Great work of music. Great work of music. Thank you. Yeah, we filled them up. 2 great works of music. That's an extra 4 culture. 8 culture per turn. Huge. And we took it away from somebody else who had more culture than us, or at least roughly equivalent culture to us. All right, let's finish that building. Perfect. Flood barriers are complete. City defended. It's quite nice to be in a position to be able to build those ahead of the time rather than building them reactively. It's very, very rare that I'm ever able to build them ahead of time. Usually I'm just scrambling to get them. Like, I don't even have the encampment built. So I feel like I'm pre-planning a little bit better. And I also just got like a strangely good start this game. And it's mostly just down to the fact that I didn't spawn near the AI and they didn't ruin my buzz. They weren't total buzz kills, man, you know? Okay, we got a builder in here. You go there, pop that down there, and then you'll do there. We don't care about the zoo, we don't care about this. I think it's time for us to go for the science focus and start doing campus research grants. How many will I queue up? I think for now we can just queue them up. Queue them up, queue them up. Right, let's go for Pasargadae maybe? Yeah, that seems good. Alrighty, John Jacob Astor from the industrial era. Let's gain 500 gold. Unit needs orders. Fabricate scandal. Go for it. Forcing the top competitors to lose. 5 envoys. Wait, let's level you up one more time. Sure. License to kill. Who cares about it? It doesn't matter, right? We're not going to use any of those promotions, and I don't want to sit down and explain why. I'm not in the mood for it. The cool thing is we can use these military engineers later on in the game as well. I'm actually super excited for us to get, democracy. It's about to happen. We're like right there. No other bonuses do I really need. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy where I am. I think I will slowly start to build up my relationship with the industrial city-states. I think that's a totally reasonable thing to do because I do have an industrial city here. And the industrial buildings, these provide bonuses when you're building wonders buildings and districts. But the important thing is if I can get Hong Kong, that's a 20% production bonus towards city projects. So I think Hong Kong is who I'm going to be working on first and foremost, because that'll actually apply to my space race projects. Oh yeah, look at that. We got the fishery tiles down in here in the Liang city. Just an absurd amount of growth, an absurd amount of production, just everything in here is absurd. It's beautiful. It's truly a feast for the eyes. Yeah, it's good. It's good for the eyes. The eyes have it. I do say the eyes have it. Right, let us go ahead and purchase another builder in here. We are waiting for your chopping. We shall build a fishing boat. Okay, democracy. Brilliant. So this is going to give us +4 food and +4 production when we trade with our ally, who is going to be Persia. We're going to be remaining allies with Persia and trying to trade with him actively to concentrate as much food and production into the spaceport city. We also get access to their finest hour, which is a card that gives you +5 combat strength when fighting in or adjacent to their home territory. That's not particularly interesting. What we do care about is the New Deal, and also we care about the fact that our government becomes a whole lot more flexible. So let's go ahead and take the New Deal card. We definitely want to plug that in. I would like to plug in Economic Union. I don't see any other card here that I want to plug in just yet. There is a card that I would like to get. Actually, I like Invention here. The +4 Great Engineer points per turn and +2 for every workshop is really nice. I think we will go for that. We have a total of 11, 27, 39 luxuries coming through. And that should easily shunt us up into being ecstatic across our empire. I definitely want to get the nuclear program to get the +2 great scientists per turn for every university and +4 for every research lab. It's also just a straight up upgrade to the card that I just plugged in. So we will be going for the nuclear program so we can get science foundations. That'll be really nice. And then we'll shift over towards professional sports. This will mean that I want to build factories in my cities that don't have factories. So I'll go Ferris wheel, factory in here. But the most important thing that I get is the Royal Society. The National History Museum just gives you extra great work slots. Very good in a tourism game, not good for what we're doing. And the War Department allows your units to heal when they kill another unit. Very good for a late game war game, not for what we're doing. What we want is the Royal Society, which gives you builders the ability to put all of their build charges. Builders gain the ability to use all of their charges to provide bonus production to a district product. You can only do this once per city per turn. So when we're working on the space race, we can actually feed builders from other cities while one city is working on the space race. We can take builders from other cities and put them into the spaceport and effectively feed the production of the space race projects with multiple cities. That's why the Royal Society is an incredibly important thing to pick up, and that's why we're going to be immediately well, I guess I can go for it after the factory. I don't need it right now because my spaceports aren't even finished. And we can do the first couple of spaceport projects by just hard building them because it's going to be a while before we can finish the space race. University completed here in Tonina. Let's go ahead and go for the research lab. We want to maximize our science per turn. We are looking at another fabricate scandal over here. Thank you very much. And we will go ahead and chop. And you're in position to chop. And you are in position to excavate. Go ahead and take a Basel artifact. Franz von Hipper, why don't you just go sleep? I got no use for you. Go to sleep. I got no use for you. Why don't you just go be a sheep? Okay, let's grab ourselves combined arms because we want access to uranium. Uranium is a useful resource, especially if you go for the nuclear power plant, because the nuclear power plant gives you AoE science and AoE production. It also is the most efficient way to produce power. It produces 1 uranium, produces 16 power, which is resource per resource, worth 4 times as much power than something like oil or coal, and it also produces the lowest amount of CO2. So we're going to go immediately to nuclear power. And before people complain about nuclear power, like generating CO2 in the game, it's just like, dude, I'm pretty sure building a nuclear power plant, like everything we're doing right now in the game is generating CO2. It's just part of the power game mechanic, okay? Like that, when it, like the electricity power generation mechanic. Just don't think about it too hard. You hurt yourself, right? Nuclear power plants, they produce CO2. Don't worry about it, right? Imagine it's just the mining part of things that's doing that. You don't hurt yourself. Let's go ahead and cancel focusing on food and production in here. And instead, we're going to focus on science. We're going to, yep, that looks good. I don't need the seaport. The seaport would be nice, but it's a luxury district. I don't need the aquarium. It's a luxury district. I think we're going to go ahead and just queue up campus research grants to keep the city busy because we don't need to do anything else with it. And the chopping is happening in Uxmal. We chopped out the research lab. It's focused on science. This is a 46 science city right now. I just want to point out that's absurd. We don't need the seaport. I would like amenities in here, so I think I'll just crank down a entertainment complex like right there. That's fine. And we should totally get started on a flood barrier. It's only a 1-turn flood barrier because the only tile that's at risk is the silk. Let's move this trader back over to Copan. The city is now up to 146 production per turn, which is exactly where we want it to be. I would like to hit about 200 production per turn if I could for a standard space race game. It's not always possible to do that, but in and around that region would feel pretty decent to me. Flood barrier completed in Corrigia. Let's make sure that we get the workshop. We also want to get factories if we can in these cities because we are going to be plugging in the card that doesn't make workshops as effective anymore. Go ahead and trade with Sparta. Continue to pump up that production. That's 7 production, by the way, that we're getting from that trade route. Like, it's insane. This is why trade routes are so important for your late game productivity. It's really important to have an ally close by. At least in my opinion, in this particular style, there are other ways to play the science victory. Like you can do a chop victory where you save up a forested area for a late game giga chop and you chop your way through the science things. That's like really good for speed runs. This is more of just like a chill playing the game fairly optimally, but not worrying about like perfecting everything. You know what I mean? I think Yeah, I think this works for me. All right, so there's the nuclear program. We're going to go ahead and wait, I can have invention and science foundation plugged in. Right, let's drop public works for a few minutes. We'll plug in science foundation. Oh, wait, that's not how that works. I had a brain fart moment there. Hold on. I don't know if I can do this. I think the great scientist points are more important than the great engineer points. So while this will technically result in a slightly lower amount of great engineer points that we're getting, I think the correlated increase in the great scientist points that we're earning is worth it. So we're going to go ahead and replace invention. Then I will plug back in the public works card, because it should basically never be plugged out of your government, because it's almost always worth it to build builders while you've got tiles to improve. City state emergency, I'll add the proposal. I'm not hopeful that it'll even pass, nor will anything get done about it. I think it would be cool if putting a proposal like that forward, instead of just being like, oh, we all vote on whether or not we go to war with them, it would be kind of cool if it was like a little bit more like, hey, you need to give that city back. And then there's a whole bunch of, countries can like, I declare myself interested. I declare myself neutral. I declare myself this. And then we can vote on a resolution. Like we can vote, we go to war with him. We can vote, we sanction them. The city of Fez gets like a loyalty debuff or something. And, trade routes to and from Scythia are weakened for a while because they're under a sanction. I think the whole diplomatic mechanic stuff is relatively not interesting to what it could be, and I think it could be fairly interesting with like very minimal amounts of work and very simple mechanical changes. But I'm all for people voting for this. So everyone voted against it. Nobody wants to go to war with Scythia. I mean, honestly, Scythia is was basically top science before I overtook her. We did find a new source of uranium, and we're already exploiting it. Very happy that I settled the city. It's rare that I get uranium on like my first try. So I'm glad that I have it. I'm not going to complain about that. We're one turn away from the spaceport being finished, which is exciting. Right, with the completion of the spaceport, I'm going to do the final phase of the space race in the next episode. And that will be a fun and interesting endeavor. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.